got a beautifully unique structure lined up for you guys this evening. So many of you have been on our journeys before, and I see a huge amount of the same faces. Welcome back. Absolute privilege. Can you believe we are 6 months in? I'm not saying 6 months in the year, 6 months into doing these workshops. That is absolutely, it blows my mind actually when I see what's happened and what we've covered and the amazing speakers that we've had over the last 5 workshops, and now we're in number 6. You would have all seen the wonderful messages and the reason why we've actually put this together. But if you missed it, I'll give you a very quick story shortly. Life is full of choices. And somebody told me many years ago that life is like living a badly written soap opera, but you're the director of your badly written soap opera. That's how me. You like that one, right?
That I dared to flirt with failure for a chance to dance with success. And I believe that's what we have to do as dreamers, as entrepreneurs, as leaders. We have to flirt with failure for a chance to dance with success. Work on an attitude of gratitude, polish your goals daily, and watch for a miracle.
That if your main focus for your goal or dream in the next 6 months is financial, who wants to take this one? Is that the right drive? Pete wants that. And then Leslie's going to come in. Pete.
I'm also going to speak as the everyman. We all want to solve that financial problem, right? That is first and foremost on our minds. Maslow's hierarchy of needs has just pushed us a little higher. So yes, financial is important, but I think what happens in our desire for financial stability and wealth is we forget to ask ourselves a very, very important question. And this is actually goes off of my lesson number 9, which is don't plan for the wrong problem. The question you must ask is, how much money do you want? And how are you going to get there? Because when you ask the right question, and Dr. Ant mentioned this, you got to ask the right questions to get the right answers. And that's where I sit on the finances. Finances are a number. What's the number? And how do you get there?
But you're saying it's important to be specific.
Very specific, yes.
Well, I think that's it's definitely an interesting one. And whenever we want to be able to create any type of change or get anything in our lives, it always starts with us. It always comes back to us. We may want something, but there may be a very big disconnect with our belief that we can actually have it. So lining those two up are going to be really incredibly important to you, and not really, I guess, cementing the way that you think that you're going to be able to get those, because we often are human and our ego gets involved about the way this is the only way that I think that we can actually get here. And we don't leave ourselves open to other perspectives as how that can actually come in to our lives. So allowing ourselves to be open to receive what it is that we are looking to receive is really, really important to be able to do that. So anytime you want something in your life, it is a matter of, am I aligned to actually get this? Do I believe that what I'm looking at trying to achieve, I can actually do? Right? And then being able to manifest that into your life. It's really great that you can create your affirmations and that you can create, whatever your manifesting statements. However, there has to be a belief behind it, that those actionable steps so that you can actually achieve your goals. And when you put focus on it, you'll probably exceed your goals as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So great, Leslie. And just to add on is, also if it's a skill, which is what Pete said, if it's a skill that you don't have, cut the check, as Tim was saying, and get guidance and advice. So something that has only come to me, I mean, you'd think that I would have grasped this concept a very long time ago, considering the work I do, but it's only really, really punched me in the gut this last year, is my belief systems. As much as I wanted to generate wealth, and I kept saying I want wealth, and not wealth just for the sake of having a car, a boat, or whatever, but truly so that I can change the lives of others on a greater scale. I've got a foundation as well, so that's where my heart is. But there were two beliefs that I didn't realize were affecting everything that I was doing. So that's why I'm saying, cut the check and get someone that can help you clarify what those beliefs are. So mine were, don't ask. It's impolite to ask. I was that very sweet girl, well-mannered, went to people's houses, even as a young kid, didn't ask for juice, didn't ask for tea, didn't ask for cookies, didn't ask for anything, didn't ask for water because it was impolite. So I didn't grow up being okay to ask, which meant that when it came to asking for money from my clients, invoicing, negotiating, I didn't have that skill. And that's a skill. And then the other one was that I believed that it was better to give than to receive. So my whole life, I've been uncomfortable with receiving. I've shunned it. And if you aren't willing to receive, it doesn't matter if you keep saying to yourself that I want to make money, that making money is important to me this year, that increasing my earnings is important to me this year. If you've got those inherent belief systems that it may take someone else to help bring that to the surface, you are not going to be able to achieve that wealth that you're wanting to do or increase, advance in your career. Because if you look at where you've been stuck your whole life, there's a reason why you are stuck there. So get perspective, cut that check, get someone to help you move beyond that limitation.
Two words when it comes to high income: diversification. When it comes to career advancement, get a coach.
And it comes down to your why. And it's not just, I want this money for this thing. It is, ask yourself that question 7 times. Right. And then you'll get to the real reason. So whenever you're looking at whether it's a financial thing, it's never about the car. It's never about the house. You're coming down to a feeling of what it is that you're actually looking for. So whenever you look to say, hey, I want this thing in my life, ask yourself why. Don't ask why to somebody else because there's ramifications for that. However, you can ask why to yourself on this, and then just keep asking yourself why until you get to that we'll call it that root cause analysis piece, right? Just to say, what is the thing that's actually going to drive me forward? And it's never the car. It is never the house. It is never the dollars. It's the feeling that you're going to have at the opposite end of that. And if you're placing too much emphasis on that tangible asset that you think that it's going to make you happy, you'll soon find out that right after you buy that thing, you might have buyer's remorse, or 2, it's, wow, this didn't bring me the feeling that I really thought that it was going to bring me.
What are the main challenges or obstacles you face when striving for your goals? So this is what was asked. What are the main challenges or obstacles? The primary one that came up was fear of failure.
Well, I mean, that's a big one because a lot of people have, especially when they're going for a goal or something that they've never done before, or trying to achieve something they haven't achieved before, fear strikes because it's something new, it's something different. The idea is that it's the program, it's the subconscious programming that's afraid because it's feeling change is about to take place and it doesn't know is the change good or not. As long as you're not quitting, as long as you're progressively moving towards what it is that you want, then it's just course corrections. And if you can train yourself to look at it that way, I tried something, I'm going after a goal, I know what I want. To touch on what Pete said, know how much you want. Don't just set a number. Like, it's interesting that whenever you ask people, they're like, $1 million. Why $1 million? Why not 2 million? Why not 300,000? Why always $1 million? It just sounds like a good number. The idea is know what you need and want. The other thing that was mentioned that's very important is there's 2 questions you always ask yourself. Are you able to? And I would hope that through everything we shared, people understand that they are able because you're an infinite spirit. You have an infinite mind. So of course you're able to. And if someone else did it, that automatically means you are able to. Second question is, are you willing? Are you willing to sacrifice what it takes to get there? Are you willing to give up things of a lower nature so that you can bring into your life things that are of a higher nature? And if the answers are yes to that, and you know what you're going for, and you understand to yourself that it's simply a course correction and looking at the feedback of what's happening, then fear loses its power, because there's nothing to be afraid of. It's simply a course correction, going to where I know I'm going. I have the anticipation, I'm expectant of it to happen. I just need to find a way out.
Oh yeah, I love exactly what Ellie said is about that fear. And as a parent, I learned a lot of my lessons through my children. And just this last weekend, they were at their first swim meet, and my son and my daughter had never done this before, and they're sitting on the starting blocks and they're petrified. And my son's like, I'm scared. I am scared. And it made me think about what courage is and what it is that we're afraid of. And I told them on the other end of this fear is success. It's accomplishment. It's a win. It's you opening up your world a little bit bigger. And as I'm talking to him, it just reaffirmed to myself, fear is ego. Fear is our ego getting in the way of us accomplishing what we want to accomplish, because there is no tiger. There is no bomb we're running away from. Like in our everyday lives, for those of us who are fortunate enough to be in our everyday lives, fear is just our ego. And if you can, I don't know if you read Ryan Holiday, ego is the enemy. To be successful in life, to be wealthy, you need to crush that ego, because it's what's stopping you. And it's why you're afraid.
I think that there's a very valuable question again to ask yourself here. Are you afraid to fail? Or are you actually afraid to succeed?
Oh, painful. Okay, now carry on.
Okay. The reason being is we're going forward into something that we don't know about. So it's really that going into that unknown that we're like, oh, I don't know what this is actually going to look like. So a lot of the times it is not fear of failure at all. It is the fear of success and it actually moving forward. When we get to this place of I'm changing my life, we're leaving part of our life behind to, take this journey of discovery into what this new one actually is going to look like. And we don't have a clear path or a clear vision to what that actually is. So when we look at the ego really is that golden nugget of this isn't, I'm scared of this right now, and scared and excitement have the same physiological feeling. So you get to decide whether you're scared or whether you're excited at that point in time. And, it's really important to be able to look at it and say, okay, I don't know what this is, and I'm excited to find out what this next best step for me really is going to be. So, when ego comes in and yells at you, your soul will never yell at you. Your soul is very neutral, right? It's just going to give you information. Whereas if that ego is coming in and it can be incredibly loud for you, it's really a matter to sit back and say, okay, what is the lesson that I'm learning right here? And then telling your ego to say, okay, we're never going to make ego go away. We're just going to ask it to take a back seat in the bus, but we're going to actually be driving that bus for ourselves and say, I may not have all the answers. However, I'm going to go forward anyways. So it's taking those first steps that allows you to get out really of that fear place, and not to try to positive think your way out of something. It's really that's bypassing. So all emotions are fine. All emotions are good. We were given so many of them and we can use them, right? And it's really a matter of where am I at right now? What is the lesson that I'm going to be learning, and where do I want to be able to take this? So don't try to positive think your way out of anything. It's a matter of, here I am right now. These are the negative thoughts that I'm having. What could they also mean? And then move forward from there.
So it's what Leslie was saying there is, are you scared of, or are you fearful of failing or succeeding? Because so many times, what if you succeed? How is that going to impact your life and everyone around you? Your relationships, how is that going to change? Or are you just keeping small and safe because that's actually the safest way to be, because you're not making anyone else feel inferior because they haven't been able to succeed? God forbid you succeed, because what is that? How is that going to make everyone else feel around you? So it's that discomfort. And also, Leslie was saying as well with emotions, all emotions are good. We're created to serve us. So fear is a great emotion if you're aware of it, because it will give you signals on, what is going on with you. What do you need to stop? What do you need to change? What do you need to shift? There's something in your life that requires change, that requires a shift, that requires a change in thinking, or your approach. So yeah, if you can recognize the fear of, why am I scared of failing? Why am I scared of succeeding? If you can start becoming aware and asking the questions of yourself every time you feel something come up, you're feeling stuck, you're feeling uncomfortable, you feel like you want to retract or contract, those are great signals. So if you start tell you, because it will give you the opportunity to ask different questions, ask better questions, ask questions that are going to help you expand.
What do you all do when you're faced with fear tactically? How do you guys overcome it? I'm curious to know from Tim, Leslie, Petra, Ellie, Dr. Ant. What do you guys do when you're afraid?
Because I actually run my life through acronyms, I actually use acronyms to drive whenever I doubt. Like, for instance, when it's fear, I actually tell myself, false evidence appearing real. Yes, cliche, you've heard it, but I actually put it into action. Because, I saw what you said there, Pete, but you actually said courage is in the action and in the face of fear. That is what courage is. And I go, it's action in spite of fear. So I take that and I embellish it. And that's really what gets me through it. Because it's when you're fearful that you tread more cautiously, but you get a greater result. Because you didn't just go in bull-headedly. You just went in there after you sort of surveyed the information. You're still fearful. Guys all know about public speaking. We've had Petra on here. We've had Verity on here. Are you nervous? No, you just teach those butterflies to fly in formation. That's all. You're still nervous. Okay, so just tongue in cheek. I use the acronyms to actually take me to the next level. And I just want to put in their ego. I actually think we have the fear of that edging God out. That to me is really ego.
One of the things that I found really helpful when fear comes up, and it does, it's not, as long as you're human, it's going to be there. It's an automatic built-in reaction, is take action. I look back in my life, failures, successes, it doesn't matter. Whenever I took action, a better thing came out than I actually even anticipated. And my fear went away, obviously. It was not saying, fear knocked on the door, faith opened it, and lo and behold, there was nothing there. Same idea, take action. And if you really look back in your life, when you overcame certain fears, whether it was something like a roller coaster or doing something, anything in your life at any point, not just business and finances, and then think back, what happened after you took the action? Chances are it always came out better than you even expected, or better than what the fear originally was, all that, the talk that was built in.
One of the first things that I've learned to do, which really supports me, is check in with my body straight away. So, it's shifting your nervous system, shifting your vagus nerve. It's the somatic stuff that we forget about our bodies. So the more in tune I've become with my body, the more it's supported me. So as soon as something comes up, and I've been doing this for years without even being aware of it, when before I used to go on stage or do a talk, I'd automatically put my kind of hand in my sternum, my fingers in my sternum, and within an instant, that would calm me down.
When it comes to resiliency is a muscle, and you just have to continue to build it. You have to come upon a challenge that you're currently facing, and get through that challenge and learn from it, and then go through the next challenge and learn from it. And maybe it'll be quicker than what you had actually experienced the first time. So that resiliency really is a muscle that you get to be able to strengthen as you go throughout your life. Because again, we are having a human experience, and the reason that we are here is to actually learn. And when you have more opportunities to learn something, you have more opportunities to then grow. So look for them coming into your life, because when you say, I want this change in my life, you better believe you're going to be getting some challenges thrown at you to ask you the question, are you sure? you want this change in your life, because they're going to give you opportunities to be able to learn something, to be able to move forward within your life. And then when you have this opportunity to learn that thing, guess what? You get to help somebody else at the same time.
You know, one thing about John Maxwell that really inspired me is when he said, when you fail forward.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I used to trip over my own ego because I was scared to fail, until I heard that and I went, no, every opportunity I fail and I fail forward, I take more ground. And that got me ahead.
Because if you want to achieve anything in life, you need support. You need that teacher who's going to teach you how to hammer a nail. You're going to need someone who picks up the kids if you're busy. You're going to need somebody to work out with.
Surround yourself with people who have achieved what you would like to achieve, right?
Perfect.
Surround yourself with people who have already got that thing. Because if you are the person in your group that has all the things that, you know, that everybody else is looking for, and you can't learn from that group, you are in the wrong group.
First of all, to answer the question, can you do it alone? You know, Bob was asked that before his passing, and he said, you know what? He actually stopped, he thought about it, and he goes, in 60 years in the business, he's never seen anybody do it alone. The man had 8 mentors, not because he's stupid, it's because he understands that, first of all, I just don't know enough, and someone else might, especially as Leslie said, find somebody who's already doing or has the experience of what you're looking for. They could cut that line so much for you. You probably can't do anything on your own because you have your subconscious mind and the infinite intelligence as your partner. But by the time you figure it out, I mean, why would you want to take such a long path?
That when you're trying to get things to work in your favor, new things that you're bringing into your life, so you're changing, you're growing, how do you bring it in when those around you aren't?
Well, so another quote that he said is, don't go as often, don't stay as long.
Got it.
I just want to thank everybody. And if you're interested in learning more, just listen to my podcast. I had Tim on this week. It was a phenomenal talk, and everything goes from there.
Okay, very quick one. I won't be me if it's not an acronym, right? Quick one. Focus. F, be fearless. In other words, fearless. O, open-mindedness. Be open-minded. C, calibrate. That means get those markers down if you start winning. U, unlearn some of those habits. And then S, be serious when you focus.
I want to thank you again for having me back again today. It's been really, really great and fantastic. I'm currently working on a gratitude evolution journal, as well as a 20-week email affirmation series. So if you follow me on LinkedIn, you will get to see that when it does become available. So weekly.
Oh, thank you, Tim. Thank you, everyone. This has been so much fun. So many learnings. I just really wanted to say to just be you, become more of who you be. No one else's version, just become you, and how you can change the world doing that. And
It's your life, your goals. It's up to you, but you've got a support unit here. So stick close to us. Thank you all very much for joining.